The year is 1940. The world is on fire from World War II. On the European continent, Nazi Germany's forces, under Adolf Hitler, are conquering country after country with the power of the Blitz attacks. In short order, Poland fell, then Norway, Denmark, Belgium, the Netherlands, and finally, France. All of Europe lay in the shadow of the Third Reich. But across the English Channel, the summer of 1940 marked the beginning of one of the most decisive battles in human history, the Battle of Britain. A battle fought, not on land, but in the skies. Hitler viewed Britain as the last obstacle to European domination. For his landing, he prepared Operation Sea Lion, a plan to invade Britain by land and sea. But before German ships could cross the English Channel, the Luftwaffe, Germany's air force, had to destroy the Royal Air. For Sora first, the Luftwaffe had over 2,000 fighter and bomber aircraft. The RAF had only about 700 combat-ready aircraft, a disparity of power that led the world to believe Britain would fall within weeks. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill refused to surrender. He prepared all British people, from young pilots to civilians, to survive a massive air raid. In hidden aircraft factories, female workers replaced men who had gone to war. They worked day and night, assembling Spitfires and Hurricanes, symbols of resistance in British skies. July 10, 1940. The Luftwaffe launched its first raid. Dozens of German bombers crossed the English Channel, escorted by Messerschmitt Bf 109 fighters, over southern England. An RAF squadron took off to intercept them. Young pilots aged 18 to 22 faced off against Germany's finest air force. For many of them, that day was their first and last flight. The battle for Britain's skies has begun, and the future of the world will be determined by who controls the air. The summer of 1940 turned into a fire season. The Luftwaffe launched a massive attack on RAF air bases in southern England. Hundreds of German fighters and bombers attacked daily. Hangars were destroyed. Runways were burned. But the RAF refused to give up. Young British pilots continued to fly, though their numbers dwindled daily. Behind the seemingly chaotic skies, Britain had an advantage no one had before. Radar, a new defense system called Chain Home, monitored enemy aircraft movements from far away. This was the dawn of a new era of modern warfare, air combat, driven by data and technology. The skies over England became a fierce battleground. Spitfires and Hurricane faced off head-to-head. The British pilots had only seconds to shoot or be shot down. There was no room for hesitation. Every maneuver, every turn in the air could be the difference between life and death. Hundreds of planes from both sides crashed into the green fields of southern England. The blue sky turned into a sea of black smoke. Winston Churchill later referred to them as the few, the handful of people who saved the world every day. The RAF pilots rose again. Some slept only 3 hours a night, then returned to the cockpit. They knew, if they failed, not only would Britain fall, but all of Europe would live under the Nazi shadow. Having failed to destroy the RAF, Hitler changed tactics. Starting in September 1940, the Luftwaffe switched to attacking major cities, including London, Coventry, and Birmingham. This attack became known as the Blitz. Every night, the London sky burned red. Families hid in the underground, listening to the sound of bombs falling, one after another. But beneath the destruction, the British people's spirit grew stronger. They would not give up. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Not ever. By late September 1940, the battle over Britain began to turn. The RAF, though exhausted, was now more organized and efficient. New pilots continued to be trained, and Spitfires and Hurricanes continued to flow from the factories. Meanwhile, morale in the Luftwaffe was declining. Aircraft losses were mounting. Fuel was running low, and pressure from Hitler was mounting every day. More German bombers crashed into the English Channel. One by one, the Luftwaffe squadrons began to lose their advantage. In desperation, Hitler shifted the Luftwaffe's focus from RAF air bases to civilian cities. He hoped that by destroying the morale of the British people, the nation would surrender. However, This decision proved fatal. By halting attacks on RAF airfields, Britain gained valuable time to repair and strengthen its fleet. When the Luftwaffe attacked again, they faced a British Air Force that was now better prepared than ever. The skies over southern England became a graveyard for German aircraft. In October 1940, after 3 months of relentless fighting, Hitler finally called off Operation Sea Lion. The Luftwaffe failed to conquer the skies over Britain. Over 1,700 German aircraft were shot down. Hundreds of Luftwaffe pilots were killed or captured. However, victory did not come without a heavy price. The RAF lost nearly 500 aircraft, and many young pilots died defending their country. But Britain stood firm. Their skies remained theirs, and the world watched for the first time. The Nazi war machine was stopped. Victory in the Battle of Britain changed the course of history. If Britain had lost, Europe would likely have been completely occupied by the Nazis, and the path to invasion of the Americas and Asia would have been wide open. But the RAF's success gave the world a glimmer of hope. Britain became the main Allied base, the site from which the counter-invasion would be launched. 4 years later, the sky that was once filled with fire and smoke was now blue again. But for those who fought, the memories will never fade. The Battle of Britain was not just an air battle. It is a symbol of human courage, unity, and determination to persevere under seemingly impossible pressure. To the Luftwaffe RAF pilots, the world owes its freedom, and to the British people who stood fearlessly amid bombs and fire. History records one word: victory.